Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on our news, the saga over Bella's burial could be nearing an end. The former PM defends the Nassau Cruise Port project. Why the former health minister says the new travel ban is unnecessary and unhelpful. And a doctor slams the Bahamian healthcare system. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, the decision of who gets to make funeral arrangements for 4-year-old Deanna Bella Walker could possibly be settled out of court. Supreme Court Justice Lauren Klein has allowed both sides of Walker's family to speak and possibly reach an agreement regarding who gets to handle her burial. The two sides have been embroiled in a court battle for a week now since the child's maternal grandmother, Mona Lisa Walker, sought to have her body removed from Serenity Funeral Home, which was chosen by her paternal family. The little girl died on November 5th after police say she suffered blunt force trauma, resulting in broken bones and punctured internal organs. Bella's mother was charged with exposing her to grievous harm, while her boyfriend was charged with murder. Her mother has since been granted $20,000 bail. Both sides are due back in court on Monday. In the meantime, they remain locked in discussions with the aim of reaching an amicable solution. In other news, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis on the defense in Parliament last night as he insisted the $250 million redevelopment of the Nassau Cruise Port is a win for Bahamians.
We had not given away Prince George Dock. Prince George Dock is owned by the Bahamian people, 51%, and it's leased. It's leased for 15 years. The facilities at Prince George Dock initially was generating about $2.5 million. Immediately it would generate $6.5 million. Immediately the number of cruise facilities will increase, but remember the ownership still remains in the Bahamian people hand. It's leased, was never sold.
The Killarney MP was responding to Anglerston MP Glenys Hannah Martin, who has always been critical of the deal. Work on the project began in July 2020 with the demolition of the former Bahamas Customs warehouse. In August 2019, the government signed a heads of agreement with Nassau Cruise Port Limited for the $250 million redevelopment of the port. The former administration called it a major step towards the revitalization of downtown Nassau.
The giveaway of Prince George Dock, the People's Port facility, to a foreign company with a major participation of a few, and the collection of revenue, allowing them to collect revenue for 25 years with 2 renewal clauses of 15 years each.
As the Omicron variant puts countries around the world on edge, former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands warns its arrival in the Bahamas is inevitable. However, he hit out at the Davis administration's decision to impose travel bans on some African countries. Bethany McDermott reports.
As the United States confirmed its first case of the Omicron coronavirus variant in California, former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands warned it's only a matter of time before it is detected in the Bahamas.
It's going to be everywhere. Omicron, we don't know how it's going to behave. It's going to take a few weeks to learn if it's more lethal, just how transmissible it is and what impact it's going to have clinically. What we can say is that what's happening in Germany and Great Britain and the rest of Europe is frightening right now.
On Sunday, the Ministry of Health announced travel restrictions as a result of the new variant. The travel ban on Botswana, Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and 3 other African nations took effect on November 29th. Sands called it unnecessary and unhelpful, adding he hopes the restriction is short-lived.
So what they have done is penalized countries for being good international citizens. And it will in no way impact the spread of this variant, because we have subsequently learned that the Netherlands and other countries saw the Omicron variant even before South Africa reported it. But you don't see them being penalized, do you? And so there's a suggestion that there's more to this than just the science. This is politics, and there may be an uglier side to this politics.
The Omicron COVID-19 variant has since been detected in 23 other countries. On Tuesday, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville said officials are not ruling out expanding that ban. However, Dr. Sands doesn't think this will be a good idea.
I think it's unnecessary. I think it will be unhelpful. And it will unduly impact countries that rely on tourism. And so travel bans will hurt the Bahamas.
The former health minister reiterated the need for anyone entering the country to first get a negative COVID-19 RT-PCR test. He also said it's time to do away with certain measures, like temperature checks before entering buildings, which he suggested is pointless.
Because it's a waste of time. It is of absolutely no use in my view. But people do it because they think it's going to help. I'd like to know how many times a temperature has been detected in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas at entry in the last 12 months.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A Bahamian doctor issuing a scathing review of the local healthcare system after a family member's near-death experience with COVID-19. This comes just over 1 month since the island of Inagua was ravaged by an outbreak of the virus that saw rising COVID cases and deaths on that island.
The reason that people are dying in the Bahamas is because of our fractured healthcare system. It is seriously, seriously broken, okay? And I would have thought with the past prime minister being a physician that would have been one thing that would have been able to be fixed during that last administration. It's awful.
Dr. Marina Turnquest Wells speaks with Our News after her niece contracted COVID-19 on Inagua back in October.
And this is a young girl, 35 years old, with 2 children, 2 young boys. I mean, so, this was a very traumatic experience for her and also for the entire family.
The southernmost island has a population of around 900 residents with 1 clinic and limited healthcare resources. In mid-October, 3 dozen people were in quarantine on the island. A handful of residents had died from the virus, and 5 people airlifted for treatment on New Providence. Wells' niece, Nikia DeVoe, was one of them.
My niece sends me a voice message that she was having difficulty breathing, and I could hear her heaving and extremely short of breath.
Irina, do you remember I asked you if there was an option to send to the Bahamas for me to use the option that you say isn't available here? But maybe you could come to me.
That treatment was for monoclonal antibodies that help treat COVID-19. But before that avenue was explored at Princess Margaret Hospital, DeVoe's condition changed again.
On Monday night, we got a text from her, my niece, who says, "I think I'm having a stroke."
In the moments leading up to that, DeVoe tells her aunt she is using her energy to fan. She has asked for ice to help to cool down. Then she says she feels as though she's having a stroke. Our News reached out to the Public Hospitals Authority in early November for an update on the status of the air conditioning at PMH, and we are still awaiting a response. Wells says the hospital is in need of a complete overhaul to better serve patients in the pandemic and beyond.
They need a total revamp of the infrastructure. When you cannot even supply air conditioning to your sick patients, that's unacceptable.
Shifting gears, diplomatic appointments are still being finalized, according to Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell. He says appointees are expected to sign contracts in the coming weeks as the government awaits approvals from other countries.
Some of the appointees will be signing the contracts in a couple of weeks, but the heads of mission require the approval. It's called agrément, the French word, which really means agreement, from the other state that they're going to. And we don't want to announce any of those names until the state has agreed that that would be someone they would accept as our representative. So that's the issue right now. but we're working on it. Hopefully in a couple of weeks you'll know.
Meanwhile, with the holiday season upon us and more Bahamians out and about, National Security Minister Wayne Munro is warning those considering criminal activity to consider the consequences. He says though times are still tough for many, it's no reason to go out and commit crimes.
Crime is a choice. It's not driven, no one is driven to it. Crime is a choice. And so people are asked not to do it. If you do it, the members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, because all leave is stopped during Christmas, will be vigilant to deal with you.
Munro was asked about plans to combat crime during the holiday season during a press conference this afternoon, but he said this holiday is no different than the ones prior to the pandemic.
The police are aware of the season. They will deploy the resources that are available to them to deal with people who choose to be non-compliant with the laws. And I would just call on the public to understand that you can live within your means.
Partly cloudy skies outside our studios. Greg Thompson has the latest from the Weather Center.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome everybody for your first look at weather on this beautiful Friday evening. Beautiful conditions outside our studios right now. Temperatures comfortable in low 70s, 74 right now under partly cloudy skies. Your winds out of the northeast at 6 miles per hour and your feels-like temperature at 72 degrees. Satellite view around the area, nothing much to talk about. We are dry. High pressure remains in charge. We have some patchy clouds moving across the islands. But you notice some very high-level clouds moving from west towards the east across the Florida Peninsula. That will stay across and north of the islands over the next couple of days, but that high pressure will remain in charge for the upcoming weekend. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, a superstar Italian chef brings his Michelin star meals to the Bahamas, and an environmentalist sounds the alarm on the country's coral reefs. Find out more after this.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
The Island House is now home to a new Italian restaurant. Mogano is the newest eatery of Italian Michelin star chef Giorgio Locatelli. Jasmine Brown got an inside look and taste today.
There's nothing better than having a good meal with a good set of co-workers, and Island House's new restaurant promises just that experience. Nestled in the space that once housed Mahogany House is Mogano by Giorgio Locatelli. The Italian reality TV star brings the expertise of a Michelin star chef to the Island House brand. Island House director Lauren Holowesko Perez says they decided to do something different and thought the Italian chef would be the perfect partner.
I think after 12 years, the physical space was tired as well. So I think, it takes a toll, 12 years of operating a restaurant. And I think the whole team needed a change. Even the head chef, Dan, who's still with us and has transitioned into a greater role.
Holowesko Perez says talks with Locatelli began last April and work on transforming the space took just over 8 weeks. Locatelli says joining the Island House family just felt right, and he promises his food will not disappoint.
Favorite Giorgio are very simple because I never try to overcomplicate things. I always try my aim, especially when I work on creating new dishes, is always to take away some stuff. I think that a satisfied client is a client that has had a good meal, but also remember what he had.
And oh, what a dining experience it was, with dishes ranging from pasta to seafood to steak, and all made with the freshest ingredients. Locatelli, who owns restaurants in the United Kingdom and Dubai, says he's looking to bring his unique brand of Italian eats to the Bahamas while also capitalizing on local produce.
Our aim is to really allow the boys and the girls here to really grow and in the next future to be themselves to run in the restaurant, obviously with our recipes and with our suggestion and with selection of the ingredients. But this is our aim, is to really bring the people, especially the local people, up to that, and which I'm sure is going to be a challenge, because there is a lot of we are in a completely so far away from Italy, so it's not that easy to make Italian food. There will be some alignment as well with the producer and the farmers and the producer and the fishermen that we got here.
Locatelli, who stars in the Italian MasterChef, says given what he has seen here since opening his new restaurant, he would not rule out filming here in the Bahamas. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Sounds delicious. Well, the country's coral reefs are at risk of being gone within 5 to 10 years, according to Director of Environmental Planning and Protection, Dr. Rochelle Newbold, who says stony coral tissue loss disease is affecting the country's reefs at a rate of 50 meters per day.
The coral disease was identified in late 2019, and then the whole of 2020 was a shutdown, meaning that we weren't able to go out there and do a proper assessment. But here we are in 2021, and that information is starting to come in. We know enough to know that we're running out of time. We can lose the corals within 5 to 10 years in the Bahamas, and we need to start taking some action to deal with it.
When our news returns, Quality Home Center opens its second location, putting 70 Bahamians to work. And the Port Authority helps to feed hundreds of families for the holidays. The details when our news returns.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
This is our news. Welcome back. After 10 years in business, Quality Home Center is expanding its operation with a second location on Prince Charles Drive. Proprietor Don Davis says the new facility will employ more than 70 Bahamians. He added plans were in the works since 2019, but there were some delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The plan has been in the works since 2019, and we started clearing the ground in late 2019, but as you know, COVID was in 2020, so we really had to slow down the process. So we really got started in late 2020 with the construction, and now here we are today.
The grand opening is set for tomorrow, right in time for the holidays. Davis says the new location is about 30,000 square feet larger than the Carmichael location and will feature bigger departments.
I do expect a large crowd tomorrow and the rest of the month, because December is the time most of our, as Bahamian, we do a lot of shopping and redoing our house, fixing up the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the area rugs. So I do expect a large crowd.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority has joined forces with non-governmental organizations on the island to ensure that hundreds of families in need will get a hot meal this Christmas. 2 years after Hurricane Dorian devastated the island and in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Acting Chairman Sarah St. George noted that many residents still rely on the support of NGOs.
COVID-19 on the heels of Hurricane Matthew and Dorian is still left its legacy of tremendous hardship in our communities across the whole of Grand Bahama and of course all over the world. It took away many of the qualities of the day-to-day life we tend to take for granted, and it's still very challenging for many families to gather together this Christmas.
She called local organizations a vital element of the island's social fabric, adding the Port Authority wanted to do its part to help them spread joy and love during the season of giving.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority started this turkey drive more than a decade ago, and we're now up to 300 turkeys. And the aim is to put a roast on the table and spread some Christmas cheer to old and young who might not otherwise have a special meal prepared by anyone. No one should ever feel forgotten or alone in this season of goodwill.
Local organizations thanked the Port Authority for keeping this much-needed holiday tradition alive.
At Home Away from Home, we not just only cater to elderly people, the disabled, we also cater to mother and children. So every day we serve over 200 meals. Every day they're at Home Away from Home, and thank God for Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Sometimes we take things for granted. You know, we come to work, those of us who are fortunate to have a job, we come to work, we go home in a nice bed. We have something to eat. But there are individuals out there who are not as fortunate.
Hopefully this Christmas, with over 300 turkeys, if you time that by another 300, about 1,000 families will get a hot meal this Christmas.
Still ahead, a look at weekend weather, and a sorority enlists the help of Rev as it tackles a tough topic. Stay with us.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to our news. Partly sunny and nice conditions ahead. Greg is back in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christina. Welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather on this Good Friday evening. High pressure remains the dominant weather feature across the area. Dry conditions existing for us for looks like the next couple of days, as that high pressure system will slide out towards the east, allowing our winds to turn more easterly, warming us up slightly for the weekend. But another high pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico will migrate across the area over the next couple of days. So we're looking at a string of beautiful conditions and very lovely days through the remainder of the weekend and into next week. Boating, if you plan on doing that tonight through tomorrow, your winds will be out of the east at 10 to 15 knot, seas running 2 to 4 feet, slightly breezy across the southeast Bahamas. Tide is presently high, will be low at 12:50 tomorrow morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Friday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, following chilling reports of violent acts committed against women and children in recent weeks, Rev partnered with Delta Sigma Theta sorority this week for a timely Youth Lunch and Learn webinar. The aim was to challenge Bahamians to speak out against violence against women and children. Pastor Carlos Reed was the guest speaker.
Most of the persons that are perpetrating these actions are people who are being abused themselves. When you look at the history of like some of the persons that are being arrested for some of these things, they were persons that were abused. I believe that hurt people. So yes. Young people, even as you go through life and somebody is like doing things to you that you don't feel is right, then you need to be able to tell somebody about it.
Reed urged victims of abuse, both male and female, to speak out and get help to break the cycle. He warned that victims today could become perpetrators tomorrow.
You got some perverts out there with just like messing up young people's lives. Don't allow yourself to be a victim, because the victim is automatically going to become a perpetrator. And I believe that forums such as this helps us to be able to understand some things so we could move forward and helping to eliminate violence against women and children.
The Cable Bahamas group of companies donated prizes, including devices, for the initiative. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.